So here's the e-bike, and I'm pretty much done with all the electrical work. I mean, I could tidy up these wires a little bit, but I still have a couple things to work out before I like fully tape it up or wire limit, whatever I'm gonna do with it. But I'd say electrical's pretty much done. I'm going to get a little support plate for this called the Triple Bob. It's sold by Grin, and I'm gonna install that. But the e-bike portion of it is done, I would say. All I have to do now is just the mechanical bike portion of it. There's definitely a couple of things this needs. I bought this frame used off of Facebook Marketplace, so God knows what they've done to it. So there's basically a list of maintenance things that I just want to run through with this bike. First of all, the chain that was on here was super rusted. I have it here. I left it to soak overnight in this bag with rust remover. You can see how muddy that water got. This rim is super dirty, so I'm just gonna clean it. The whole frame has a little bit of dust everywhere. The first thing I'm gonna focus on is bleeding these hydraulic brakes. I wanna make sure that the brakes are up to snuff. This one already feels spongy. This one also fairly spongy, but this one's definitely worse. These forks, I'm just gonna rebuild them, clean them up nicely, re-lube it, and reassemble it. I would like to replace this tire, but I haven't gotten approval for it yet. But that is something I might do in the future. I inspected the teeth on these 3 front gears and they look good to me. I just bought this new 18 tooth freewheel on the back. So I'm gonna put the cassette back on here, but I'm not going to connect the cable to the cassette. The cassette will basically just act as a belt tensioner, and this has its own shifter up front. And I mean, that's really it. I'm just gonna go through and make sure all the various bolts, like this head bolt, are good. I also want to remove this handlebar and just spray paint it black because it's got quite a few scratches on it, and I know that if I just blacked it out, it would look a lot better. I'm gonna give it a new grip on this side. I happen to have this grip lying around, which doesn't quite match the throttle, but it's definitely better than, you know, this thing, which has this hand rest on the side. I really wish that this e-bike kit came with a matching left grip, the same style as this. That's what I have on my other e-bike, and that kit came with it. But you know, this was a cheap ass kit, so I couldn't really expect too much. But that would have been nice. That's really it. I'm also gonna true the wheels. I'm gonna make sure that that disc brake is nice and level, and if it's not, I'll just bend it into place. So let's get started. Here's the extremely cheap brake bleed kit that I got off of AliExpress. I also got some original Shimano hydraulic mineral oil. So I figure cheap tools plus high quality mineral oil should make for a decent experience. So the first thing I need to do is remove this Torx screw. I already have this port facing upwards. This is at the top of the system. I'm just tilting the bike back so that the hydraulic piston is at the very lowest point and the brake itself is at the highest point. I don't know how much it helps, but it doesn't hurt. I'm just throwing this thing on here so this doesn't move around as I work on it because it's pretty annoying. So I went ahead and unscrewed it, and there's also this O-ring that was there, and it didn't come off with the screw, so I just removed the O-ring and I leave it on the screw, so when I screw it back in, of course, it's gonna have that O-ring still. Next up, I'm just gonna put the tool in there. So this comes with 2 different kinds of adapters. This one I think is the one that'll fit me. Unfortunately, neither adapter fit. I have an idea, which might be awful. Basically, I'm just going to use this little area here as the reservoir, and I'm just going to pump a little bit at a time into there and try and bleed it that way. It might be slow, but I don't think there's a lot to bleed in the system anyway. Alright, so I got a couple bubbles out of there, and it feels nice and smooth now, this brake. Very consistent through the motion. So I'm going to close that up and just do the same thing on the other side. So we removed the handlebar here, and I'm just going to sand it and paint it. My paint black is probably not going to match the rest of this black, so I'm not even going to try to like tape up this logo. I'm just going to black the whole thing out. So I have it just hanging here so that I can spray paint all around it. It's just hanging from this, and I've already sanded it up so the surface is nice and rough, and I'm just going to paint it now. So now I've got it coated fairly evenly. I just wanted it to be kind of glossy, but you don't want to spray too much because then the paint will start to run. And now I'm just going to let it dry while I work on truing the wheels and rebuilding the suspension. Oh boy, that's not good. Probably going to have to take the balls out of this and re-lube it. And all these various headset screws, like these here, these are pretty damn dirty, so I'm going to clean them. First off, I just want to true these tires though. This front one I noticed is especially not true. I was experiencing pretty rough vibration around 25, 28 miles per hour from this front tire. This back one is probably true, but I'll just double check it, double check the tension in all the spokes. It seems like CSC sent it over pretty well trued, but it doesn't hurt to double check. I'm just gonna use the zip tie method. Just put a zip tie here and check the distance to the zip tie. I don't have a truing stand. Holy cow. This spray paint is beautiful. It's like a nice matte color, matte finish. And I coated it very well. I'm gonna turn it over to make sure I got the other side well done as well. This right here is a little uneven, so I'm just gonna spray paint it real quick. Probably just like 3-4 passes with the spray paint one more time. Here's the spray paint that I'm using. Super nice. I'm happy with how it looks so far. I just hit it with a couple more passes just to even out the back of it. That finish looks so nice that I'm actually also going to do the crank arms. I'm just going to spray paint them black. I'm not going to spray paint the whole frame black because 1, that's too much work. 2, the frame's not scratched up that badly, you know, when you compare it to the crank arms and the handlebar. And 3, the frame has some details on it that I'd like to keep, like the text. I think a blacked out frame would just look really goofy. But you know, this right here, I think it's totally worth spray painting black, so I'm just gonna remove it from the frame. Whoever last worked on this bike did a really nice job greasing these components. It came off really easy with the crank puller. Before I spray paint these, I'm just gonna wash them and scrub them with soap and just hit them with this pressure washer. Dry them and then sand and paint. I'm gonna sand the entirety of this one, and I'm just gonna try and hit the crank arm and avoid the cogs on this one. So I was able to get the fork out. So I'm just going to clean up these ball bearings and re-grease this and just reassemble it. And then while this fork is on the bike, I'm gonna service the fork. So I went ahead and cleaned the inside of this as well to get any of that old grease out or any of the dust that might have gotten in. That's back on the fork. I just cleaned it with a wet rag. I didn't have to take all the individual balls out. Came out pretty clean. And I'm gonna be using this grease right here. So now we have new grease on these ball bearings up here and these ball bearings down here. It's buttery smooth turning now, no crunching. And I'm gonna service these forks. I believe these are pretty simple to service. I'm just going to remove this. It's one nut, and then I gotta get the other one too. Oh yeah. We got some water in there. So this right here, it's a little bit worn. I'm just gonna hit it with some very light sandpaper. I don't want to remove too much material, but my goal is just to kind of make the surface as smooth as possible for it to glide through the tube. I'll use 800 grit wet sanding. I obviously can't sand the inside of this tube, but I can just pressure wash it. Oops. Got my phone wet. Since whoever previously worked on this was kind enough to lube it, I'll do the same for the next person. Putting lube on the square taper. And I'll do it from now on. I don't know why I haven't thought of that. It's probably common practice, but I'm not a bike mechanic. These guys are done drying. They look not bad. There's a little bit of runniness, but you can't tell standing like 10 feet away. Alright, so we got those on there now. And I'll tell you, they look a lot better than what they did before, all scratched up. Now I'm just going to get this chain out of here and probably remove a couple links since we're only going to be using a small gear in the back, and add the derailleur so we can have a 3x1 drivetrain, or I guess a 1x3 drivetrain. Just disassembled the derailleur here so I can re-grease everything. So this chain didn't come with a quick link, so when I was taking the chain off, I pushed the rivet out just far enough that it wouldn't fall out of this exterior link. And now I'm able to just line it up and then reinsert that same rivet and reuse that rivet. That's just me saving money being cheap, but definitely get a quick link if you're gonna take a chain apart. This is one of the million bullshit products that I bought on AliExpress. I'm gonna try it out. It's a chain cleaner. I put in some detergent and some water, and after that I'm gonna dry it and dry lube it. I'd say that worked fairly well. I swear to God, this thing was probably like $1. So now I need to get this derailleur to line up with that gear right there. I'm gonna try playing with the low limit screw to see if I could get it to just push over enough to do that. If not, I might have to do some trickery here with a cable. So I'm gonna take some of this old shifter cable. So I found this little rubber washer. I just slid it up there, and that should prevent it from getting pulled through now. So I suddenly realized that this isn't going to work, and that's due to the fact that these two are always moving with each other. So I need to go somewhere else on the frame, like maybe one of these holes. Let's see how that looks. Hopefully not too ugly. I'm never touching that again, but look at it. It's lined up pretty damn well. After lots of pain, the fork is now back together. Oh my god. It's backwards. So we're pretty much done here. I set up this rear derailleur so that it's aligned with this gear up there. I got that pretty well aligned. The only thing now is that this isn't actually shifting properly, so I gotta fix that. Besides that, I was struggling to true this wheel, so I gotta give it another shot. I think I made it less true than I started, so maybe I need to go and learn how to properly true a wheel. That right there, that's as true as it's gonna get without a truing stand. Anyway, let me fix this derailleur. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this bike. Let me know in the comments if you feel like I missed anything. I think I hit the majority of what's important. I'm probably gonna have to bleed these brakes differently because I noticed that there is in fact a bleed port on these. I'm new to this, I'm new to hydraulic brakes, but don't use this video as a guide for bleeding brakes. Watch an actual guide on how to bleed your brakes. It's different between different brake manufacturers, but that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to subscribe for content like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.